What's up everyone, it's Scott, and I'm back again with another Epic Universe update courtesy of BioReconstruct. There's a whole lot of stuff going on around Universal Orlando's brand new theme park set to open up in 2025, and it seems like just with all these updates, there's been so much progress and they're way ahead of schedule. But before we get into all the Epic Universe photos, like I said, courtesy of BioReconstruct, please follow him on Twitter. He posts all the photos there, and if you want to check out all the photos in real time right away, he's posting them there. And if you're new here to the channel, please subscribe with those bell notifications on. Leave this video a like at the end if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more videos like the one that you're watching right now, with that being said, let's get into today's Epic Universe construction update. Now, there is something extremely exciting that has come out of this update, something that I've been talking about for a long time during our different videos. And that, of course, is detail. And no, it's not just little shapes here and there, early stages of detail. Guys, we actually have something already being painted 2 years before this park is supposed to open. That's right, the statues of Berk, one of the elements set to be featured on the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster as a part of the How to Train Your Dragon land, is currently being painted. You can see the blue, gold, and silver colors on one of these statues. Now you can see a statue adjacent to it, which I'm assuming will probably be painted very, very soon. But the fact that this is already getting painted and you're seeing detail like this so early, like I said, 2 years before this theme park is even supposed to open, it kind of makes me wonder, once again going back to that topic, will the park open earlier than anticipated? Obviously there's lots more testing to do, lots more work that they have to get done, and tons of stuff that I'm sure they aren't even 50% done with. However, it is a promising sign seeing that stuff is already starting to get painted, and I would assume that we'll start to see other stuff throughout the theme park get painted very, very soon. But not only that, as a part of the coaster, another element has been added to one of the bank turns, either going out of this one element where these statues are at or going in. On that bank turn, there seems to be some form of figure being constructed, whether that be more statues, maybe even like something for one of the characters to sit on top of, or maybe it's even a dragon. There is a new thing being constructed where that bank turns at. Overall, this coaster, the How to Train Your Dragon coaster, is going to be very awesome because you can see so many different things throughout it. Not only are you going to get a view of the entire land while riding it, but you'll see different things like the statues of Berk, and I'm sure you'll see a dragon somewhere on there, and maybe that's what this bank turn element could be. We also get a good look at the coaster load station and the maintenance bay right behind it. This will actually be where guests will be boarding the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster and embarking on their thrilling adventure throughout the entire land. I know it's not just the coaster that is featured in this land, as the Great Hall restaurant has started to take shape a lot more. Obviously, it had sat there for quite a while, as I was wondering, like, when are they actually going to start vertical construction? Where are they going to put walls up? And then all of a sudden they threw walls up, and now it looks like they're starting to get into more of the shaping of this restaurant. You can see kind of more of a clear-cut entrance to where you're going to enter into this great dining hall and all the roofing elements going on throughout it. This is going to be a very large restaurant, and I cannot wait to finally dine inside of it. Of course, you're going to get a good view on the roller coaster of the Great Hall Dining Restaurant as well. There seems to be like a little building right across from it. I'm assuming that'll probably be just like a little gift shop for the land. And then right behind all of that, you can see the loading station for the coaster in the background. And there is one more attraction that I wanted to talk about while we're on the How to Train Your Dragon topic. That, of course, is the theater attraction. As walls have gone up around all this seating, there's more of, like, I would assume is the lobby area of the theater. That seems to be all complete as far as exterior work and then putting up the walls and whatnot. Now I can slowly start to see them doing shaping with it and obviously working on all the interior work, but it seems like with the actual theater, the seats and everything else, that's slowly but surely getting closed off to where we won't be able to see anything on the inside in the near future. And honestly, just like all the other lands, with How to Train Your Dragon in specific, you can see everything starting to take shape a lot more and point out what everything's going to be. Instead of us just guessing here, we can kind of get a more definitive answer as to what is going to be in these different places, in these different buildings. Obviously, right behind it, you have another coaster in the dual racing roller coaster, the Hub Coaster, which for a while just sat there with not a lot going on, but it seems seems like their main focus right now is working on the loading station. There's some track going over the loading station. There's different elements sitting right outside of the Dual Racing Roller Coaster blueprint that are set to be put on the loading station / in the queue. No new track has been added from what I can see. I mean, I'm sure there's been small pieces here and there, but no like super visible track that's been added. You can definitely see those elements on the outside. There seems to be some form of lift hill or some form of track protected by tubing. That track, of course, is going right over the load station. And keep in mind, I don't claim to be a roller coaster expert, so sorry if I get some of this wrong. But yeah, a lot of the main focus is the load station and them building a lot of the supports for the different track pieces around that load station too. You can see just how complex it's going to be, but it's going to look awesome when it's all said and done with all the paint on the building, and then of course all the paint mixing with the track and the different support beams. Let's move into more hub talk though, as the hotel seems like it's finally starting a full-scale construction progress. And what I mean by that is it looks like they're working on the second level for the in-park hotel. So that's exciting as they're starting to build up a little bit more vertical compared to how it's just been sitting there on that first floor. Now they're working on the second floor. But not only that, as they have also started building a parking garage for the Epic Universe main in-park hotel. Obviously, parking garages are a lot easier to put up super quickly, so I can see this being done very, very soon. But yeah, it is exciting that we finally see some progress for this in-park hotel. The hotel, of course, which will have one of the best theme park views at any hotel. So the water-based attraction as a part of the hub as well also has some steel placed in the middle in preparations for a roof. And the reason why I say I know it's going to be a roof is because you can see certain elements starting to be connected to those pieces of steel. And if you line up the construction progress of this attraction compared to the actual concept art, you can see they're nearly identical as far as what the construction seems to be going towards. They have that archway, they have those glass stained kind of figures to them, and while we don't see glass quite yet, you can definitely see the comparison in the archways. They look identical, and I'm super excited that even detail like that we're starting to finally see. Hopefully we start to see the glass soon as well, but I would assume that they're going to have to put some form of ride vehicles in there before they actually fully close it off. And you can actually see right behind this water-based attraction some construction for what I'm assuming to be is going to be the main Epic Universe gift shop. Obviously that's right in front of Super Nintendo World to kind of get an idea of where we're at in Epic Universe. I really think that this is going to be either one, a restaurant, which it could be a restaurant even though they already have multiple restaurants in the hub, but me personally, I just think that it looks like the main gift shop. And then there's also another water-based restaurant which has since seen a roof. I haven't seen this roof before. It was just a circle, and now there's a roof on top of it for a little restaurant. And then of course the main kind of Bellagio style fountains still have no progress because everything going on in there is all technical stuff, and we probably won't see any changes to it at all during this construction progress, other than when they fill it up with water. But that won't come for a very long time. Let's of course move into Super Nintendo World, which lots has started to ramp up for this. You get a good idea of what looks to be the mountains for the entryway to Mario Super Nintendo World. You obviously have the warp pipe right there. You have the mountains, which, like I said, I'm assuming they're going to be mountains just with the curvy kind of feel to them. And of course, you have Princess Peach's castle. Or actually, no. I'm curious to see why those poles on top of that warp pipe are there, because Princess Peach's castle is on the inside of the land. It's not on the outside of the land. So I wonder what that's going to be. Are they going to hang the Super Nintendo World sign from the top compared to having it on the side like the other two ones, of one in Japan and one in Hollywood? I'm interested to see what those poles are. And there's a lot more activity going on in Super Nintendo World. This land in specific has been sitting there for a while with just nothing going on. It seems like they got all the framing done, and then since then it's just been shuttered, like nobody's been touching it. But now there's plenty of construction workers in there. There's plenty of different tiny things being constructed in there compared to just the framing being done. And the Yoshi Dark Ride, or half dark ride, half outdoor ride, the Omnimover attraction, is like fully closed off for the indoor section at least, and even some of the station too. Man, I can't wait till we finally see trains on the Donkey Kong coaster. Like, I think that'll be so exciting. seen trains placed on there for the very first time. It's like we've talked about it for the longest time in Hollywood and Japan. Is anyone getting a Donkey Kong coaster? Obviously, they're building it in Japan. They're building it here at Epic Universe. I hope one day they build it in Hollywood, but the fact that it's finally coming true and we're nearly 2 years away from actually riding the Donkey Kong coaster, it just makes me so excited. And I cannot wait for them to put trains on it and to put even more detail than it's already existed. Here's a great aerial shot of the Wizarding World land, which we don't know quite yet, or nothing's leading us to believe how many attractions is going to be there, how many restaurants, merchandise shops, all that fun stuff is going to be in here. I'd say this is the hardest land to figure out just because of how close quarters it is. But yeah, still no detail added to that entryway, that entry portal for the Wizarding World area. However, you can see they're working very fast on the different surrounding buildings. There's different cranes in there, there's different construction crews in there, and looks like they're prepping for some detail on the surrounding buildings. All that covering on the different buildings and the different shapes looks like they're getting ready to start painting for there too. You can kind of see some steel work and framing going on as far as what it's going to be in Wizarding World. Like, I think I made a reference in our last construction update talking about how this looks exactly like the Diagon Alley kind of reveal, the kind of pointy figure in the middle. Obviously, it's not going to be that. And then to the left, you can see more of those house/apartment shapes in those surrounding city buildings. Some are more definitive than others, and I think in the bottom right, that's some little bit of detail. I mean, that's what it looks like. It could just be steel, but in the bottom right down there, it does look like there's a little bit of detail work going on. Oh yeah, from this shot, you can definitely tell that that's in the early stages of detail right there. And of course, where all that different steel is, where we're talking about that Diagon Alley reference, looks like they're working to close all that off to more engulf the land like everything else is right now. There's just so much freaking work going on in here that it's so hard to tell what's actually close to done and what's still just started, other than that brown steel work that's going on. It's also extremely hard to tell where the entrance is for this main show building, whether it's holding the ride or even more of the land. Moving on to the last thing that we're going to talk about today, which of course is the Universal Monsters theme land. Here's a good look at the entry portal. Lots is going in to bring this to life. Different vehicles and whatnot surrounding it, and you can see at the very tippy top, that wasn't there before on our last update talking about this entry portal. And as I predicted, I do think there will be a whole bunch of rock work going in to kind of immerse you into the Universal Monsters land. That's just what it looks like, and it looks to be some form of tower at the very top. Regardless, I think this will probably be the prettiest kind of transition from Epic Universe to the Universal Monsters land, like the prettiest out of all the theme park land. But then again, we haven't seen the Wizarding World one, and we haven't seen the How to Train Your Dragon one. We kind of get an idea of Super Nintendo Worlds already, but that's just a warp pipe. And then of course you get the grand reveal. This is a fully like detailed entry portal, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, as far as the rest of the Universal Monsters land go, it seems like just in our last couple updates, there's been no notable changes to this other than a few little framing changes here and there, but nothing notable to be talking about and taking a deep dive into. However, Universal Monsters, just like everything else in the theme park, is starting to take shape very, very fast, and it looks like their main focus right now for that land is that entry portal, which I'm excited once they're complete with that, or at least somewhat complete to their liking. I'm excited to see the rest start to take shape, including Castle Frankenstein, which it's rumored to be right now. I'm really excited to see Castle Frankenstein start to take shape and them start to take all that scaffolding down to see the grand reveal of it. So that's going to wrap it up for today's Epic Universe update. Lots is going on. There's been so many changes, and obviously we've spent a large amount of our time talking about How to Train a Dragon. That's because that land is so far along, and I'm so excited to see it. Probably, like I've said before, my most anticipated land just because of how much it's offering. If you notice anything that I didn't notice in this video, please let us know down below in the comments section. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you're new here, subscribe with those bell notifications on and leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. My name is Scott. You've been watching Exploring Attractions. Positivity is key, and most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.